Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Dai and today I'm bringing you my December manga haul. So you can see the stack is a little bit shorter than it's been. That's just because I didn't have as many new releases I was interested in. But there's still quite a few things in here, plus I filled in some gaps on some of the series that I'm trying to complete for my collection so that I can read them. So I've stacked them here in kind of a particular order because my daughter was very particular in how she stacked them for me. So I've got larger volumes towards the bottom and then some light novels at the end. But let's just start here right on the top. You can see the stack is kind of shaking a little bit because the table I have it on is not that sturdy. But anyway, right off the top here, I have volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Dangers in My Heart, story and art by Norio Sakurai. This one is published by 7 Seas, rated teen. I had heard about this one on Shay's channel from Shay Geeks Out. She had talked about this one, I believe, in her top seinen. Maybe it was top 10 or 5. I can't remember. It was one of her December manga videos, and she had talked about this one. I hadn't heard about it, and so I thought it sounded interesting. So I decided to pick it up when I was at the Barnes & Noble for my manga club meeting. This one, I believe, is about 2 teens who are in class together, and this guy thinks he wants to kill this girl, I think, but really he just doesn't know that he has feelings for her, and she really enjoys snacking. So you can see that she's snacking here. She's got snacks here, and no snacks here, but I love the artwork on this. The back of this says that it's a rom-com with a dark side, which sounds interesting to me. And so I'm very excited to check these out. Next up, I have 2 volumes of Idle Dreams by Arina Tanemura. This one's published by Viz, rated teen. These are 2 that I was missing from my collection, so now I'm only missing volume 4. I do have that on my purchase list for January, so hopefully I'll have the entire series soon. Arina Tanemura is one of my favorite mangakas. I really, really love her art style. This particular one is, I believe it's about a 30-something woman who gets the chance to revert back to her 16-year-old self by taking some kind of experimental drug, and then she pursues her dream of becoming a singer. I think that is what this one is about. But I'm looking forward to checking this one out when I have the whole thing. I didn't realize how many volumes I was missing. So I have started to take a list with me into the Barnes & Noble of things that I'm looking to complete in my collection, because that will really help me out instead of just going to the store and not remembering off the top of my head. So I have started to shop with a list. And then I also have my pre-purchase list at the beginning of every month. So I think my manga buying will be a little bit more specific in 2022, but we'll see if those 2 things work for me during the year. I apologize if you can hear the loud music that just started a little while ago. My neighbors have started playing their music outside, and so there's nothing I can do about that. My window is actually closed, so what you're hearing is through the window. So if you can hear that, I'm sorry, but let's continue, shall we? So next up, I have the omnibus of LDK volume 17 and 18 by Ayu Watanabe. This one is published by Kodansha, rated older teen. This is a series that I really, really have been enjoying, but I am a couple volumes behind in reading. This one is about these 2 characters here on the cover, and they end up having to live in an apartment complex for their own reasons, away from their family. And in the first volume, I believe, The girl character here, her name is Aoi. She ends up trying to do something nice for her neighbor, which is Shusei here, and ends up like burning his apartment. So he ends up having to live with her while his apartment is getting fixed, and it has to be this big secret because he's popular, but more importantly, it's not acceptable for two high school students to be living together on their own, especially two students who are of the opposite sex. So it's kind of their story navigating the situation that they're in, and obviously you can see they do end up in a relationship together. I have really, really enjoyed this series. I even watched the movie adaptation that was on Viki. I rented it for 99 cents, which was a great deal. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. Had no idea that the movie was actually in volumes that hadn't come out in the series yet, so I am a little bit spoiled for some of the storyline that I haven't read yet, but that's okay. I'm still looking forward to reading that, and I'm looking forward to reading this as well. I don't know why they released this one in an omnibus edition. It does look like, though, the spine, they made it look like two separate volumes so that when you have it on your shelf, it looks like two separate volumes, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to jumping into this series again. I really need to do that this year. Next up, I have volume 23 of Noragami Straight God by Adachi Toka. This one's published by Kodansha and is rated older teen, following the minor god Yato. In the beginning of this series, he's doing small jobs like trying to help an old woman get her cat out of a tree or something, find her cat, something like that. Just little jobs like that, just so that people remember his name, because in this world, if he is not remembered by people, he will cease to exist. So while doing that, he crosses paths with Hyori, who ends up being someone who can have her soul separate from her body. So she's able to kind of be in the spirit land and the mortal land, and they kind of get into things together. So the story has evolved so much from where it was in the beginning. It is one that I really, really enjoy, and I anticipate each volume as they come out. And so I am, I believe, up to date on this one, which is a rare thing for me to say. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where this one goes. I think I had told you before when I had read the previous volumes, I was a little bit lost because there was a little bit of a gap between publications in volumes. I had not remembered what had happened before, so I think I am going to go back and reread some of the previous volumes, read the volumes that I had read most recently, and then read this one, just so that I'm just more a little grounded in where I am in this series. But it is a series I really, really enjoy. Next up, I have volume 2 of Springtime by the Window. This one is by Suzuyuki, published by Tokyo Pop, rated youth, so 10 plus. This is a romance about that follows these two students. That's pretty much all I know about this one. I can't remember what the first volume says, and obviously the back of the second volume doesn't include just the general summary, but I was interested in the first volume when I picked it up, so I'm just picking up the next couple so that I have a good foundation when I do read it to decide whether or not I am going to be interested in continuing this one. But I think this is a sweet school romance, so I'm looking forward to checking that out when I have one more volume. Next up is a new one. It is volume 1 of Mel Paris. Story and art by Jun Ogino, published by 7 Seas, rated older teen. It follows this woman who is best friends with another woman, and they become soldiers fighting kaiju to protect humanity. And one of the friends gets killed in one of the battles, and so the other friend doesn't know if she'll be able to love again. I presume she meets somebody else, and it's an intense apocalyptic romance. So I thought this one sounded interesting, and yeah, I decided that I wanted to check that one out. It does have a parental advisory warning on the back for explicit content, so just so you know. Then I have volume 1 of Rosenblood. Story and art by Kachiru Ishizue. This one is published by Viz, rated older teen. This is a vampire story. That's pretty much all I know. If you have vampires in it, I'm probably going to pick it up, so I'm looking forward to reading that one. Next up, I have the special edition of volume 18 of Takane and Hana. Story and art by Yuki Shiwasu. This one's published by Viz and is rated teen. This one has bonus sequel stories in the back. And this is one that I need to collect a good portion of. I think I only have like 9 volumes or so I've got about half. I wanted to pick this one up though because it was a special edition, and so didn't want to wait until I completed that gap before I got this one because the special edition would probably be gone. But this one, I believe, follows this couple, and they end up getting together because her older sister was supposed to be on a blind date kind of thing with this guy, but she wasn't interested, so the younger sister goes in her place and then ends up with this guy instead. So it is an age gap romance story, and I'm looking forward to exploring that one once I have all of the volumes, because I think it's going to be one that I really enjoy. Next up, I have volume 5 of Call of the Night by Kotoyama. This one's published by Viz, rated older teen. This, I have been up to date on again, something that I'm not normally able to say, but I did catch up with volumes 2, 3, and 4 during the Haunted 24-Hour Manga Readathon back in October, and I'm really, really enjoying the series. Again, this is a vampire story. This one follows a kid who has, insomnia, and instead of just staying in his room and wasting time all night, he decides that he's going to venture out into the world and experience nighttime outside. He crosses paths with a vampire, and they make a deal with each other. And so that is basically the premise of this story. We've met several other vampires so far in this series up to where I am, and something happened at the end of volume 4 that I'm very interested in seeing how that affects the storyline, and so I'm looking forward to continuing with the next volume. Next up, I have the final volume of A School Frozen in Time, art by Naoshi Arakawa, story by Mizuki Tsujimura. This one is published by Vertical and is rated 16 plus, so older teen. This is a story about a group of high school students who end up getting trapped in a time warp. I think that's the right word. One of them has committed suicide, but none of them know which one it was, and so they need to figure that out in order to get out. And so I've been highly anticipating this series. Since it was such a short series, I decided to wait until I had the final volume to read it. Obviously trigger warnings for suicide, and so I am really looking forward to seeing how this story plays out. This is a rather thick volume, and yeah, so I will be reading this one soon, hopefully, depending on how my reading goes, because my reading kind of tanked in December. I'm trying to get it back, but you never know how those things go. Next up, I have Volume 9 of Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, story and layouts by Hiro Mashima, art by Atsuo Ueda. This one's published by Kodansha, rated teen. This one is a continuing story of the fairy tale kind of main characters going on a separate quest, and I am really looking forward to jumping into this series, especially with the adaptation that was announced. My daughter has just recently finished a rewatch of the Fairy Tale anime. We have already watched that previously, and we have read the entirety of the manga series, so I am looking forward to continuing with these characters. I'll probably jump into that one sooner rather than later just because the adaptation is coming out and I kind of want to watch that when it does. Next up, I have Volume 2 of Can't Stop Cursing You, art by Natsuko Uruma, original story by Kensuke Koba. This one is published by Yam Press and is rated older teen. This one kind of reminds me of Death Note in a way. It follows a guy who has like a mission to curse people. That's pretty much all I know. I know that when I had read the summary of the first volume, it definitely reminded me of Death Note. Death Note is something that I have watched the animes for. We are reading the first 2 volumes for my manga club in January. And so this is one that I think I'm really going to enjoy. Seems dark and twisty, and I'm looking forward to it. Next up, I have one that I thought looked really cute. Not usually something that I'd gravitate towards, but like I said, it sounded super cute. So I have Volume 1 of Cavasage Therapy. This one is by Haru Hisakawa, published by 7 Seas, and is rated ages 10 plus. This one is about a cat massage parlor and this guy who goes to this parlor to get massaged by a meowser. I don't know, it sounded super cute. This cat is super cute, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what this one's all about. It is rather thin, but the art just is adorable, and so I'm looking forward to checking that one out. Next up, I have Volume 2 of When Will Ayumu Make His Move? This one is by Soichiro Yamamoto, published by Kodansha, rated 13 plus, so that is teen. This one follows these 2 high school students who are in the shogi club, and the guy has feelings for the girl. The girl kind of knows it and is wondering when he's going to make his move, but he won't make his move until he accomplishes a certain thing. And so I thought this one sounded interesting, and the art style looks great as well, and so I'm looking forward to checking that one out. I want one more volume though before I do that. Next up, I have Perfect World Volume 9 by Rie Aruga. This one is published by Kodansha, rated older teen. I have collected 9 volumes digitally, so I'm collecting the physical copies to support the publication. I don't think this is the last volume. I think there are a couple more, but I have only collected 9 digitally. So yeah, I could have sworn I heard there were more after this, or at least one more. But the back of this does not say final volume, so I will be continuing to collect this until I have it. This one is about the relationship between 2 previous friends, except one's life has changed as he is now in a wheelchair, and them dealing with the difficulties of that. And so it's one that I've been interested in for a while, but I do want to have the whole thing. I know this has some difficult things come up in it as well, and so I definitely want to have it all and then marathon read the whole thing when I do. And so I am now up to date collecting that one. And so yeah. Next up, I have one for my daughter. This is Persona 5 Mementos Mission. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive, published by Udon. And this one, I don't think Udon doesn't put the age range on their volumes. I, to be honest, don't ever check Udon's releases. Viz has had the Persona 5 license, so we've been picking those up. But I was very shocked to see this when I was at the store, and so this apparently is a special edition of this release. It has a fold-out poster inside, and so, yeah, my daughter saw it. She was like, "What is this?" Had to come home with us because she is a big fan of this franchise, and so I will eventually read this one. This one, it says manga by Rokuro Saito, original work by Atlas. And so, yes, pick that one up for my daughter. Next up, I have volume 2 of Pretty Boy Detective Club, original story by Nishi Oishin, manga by Suzuka Oda, original character design by Kinaka. This one is published by Vertical and is rated... I'm not sure. This one doesn't have an age rating on the back either. I would say it's probably teen or older teen. We had watched the entirety of this anime. My daughter was definitely more interested in it than I am, but this one follows a high school detective club. And so this one character here, the girl with the glasses, has an ability to be able to kind of see things other people can't. And so even though the detective club is boys, she kind of joins them because she has this ability. And so, yeah, I actually picked up all of the light novels, or 3 of the light novels, in a Humble Bundle recently, a Nishi Oishin Humble Bundle. And so I have the light novels, and my daughter is going to be reading these manga volumes. I'm not sure if the anime encompasses the entirety of the manga or the light novel, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Some of the cases that they handled were interesting. I think I was just sometimes confused with some of the things, and yeah, it just didn't grab me when I watched the anime, but I'm looking forward to re-experiencing this story and meeting these characters again, and hoping that I will connect with this story a bit better. Next up, I have volume 6 of the collector's edition of Maison Ikoku by Rumiko Takahashi. This one's published by Viz and is rated older teen. This is that boarding house story that I know a little bit about because I've watched some of the anime, but I am collecting the entire series so that I can marathon read through the entire thing. And so, yeah, just added this one to my collection. Next up, I have volume 3 of Beauty and the Beast of Paradise Lost by Kaori Yuki. This one is published by Kodansha and is rated older teen. And I believe this one is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I have enjoyed Kaori Yuki's work in the past, and her art style is gorgeous, and so I'm looking forward to diving into this one. So that's all of the manga that I have. Next up, I have some light novels, and so they're not too many, but we're almost at the end. So first up, I have Fullmetal Alchemist, The Land of Sand, novel by Makoto Inoue, original concept by Hiromu Arakawa. This one is published by Viz and is rated teen. This just says novels based on the best-selling manga of 2 brothers' quests to reclaim their bodies torn apart by alchemy. So I am not quite sure what this one is about. The summary back here, the text is really tiny. But the bottom says includes bonus story The Phantom of Warehouse 13. And so, yeah, as I see these, I pick them up. Fullmetal Alchemist is a manga that I have not read in completion. I've read the first 3 volumes for Manga Club. We have watched the entirety of both anime adaptations. I really, really enjoyed it. So eventually, I will be revisiting the manga of this series. I just don't want to do it right now because I am in the middle of Bleach, and since that is a long series in itself, I do want to continue that before I start in on another long series. But I'm looking forward to checking out these light novels. I did pick up one previously, and so, yeah. I believe those are reissues, though. They're not like new releases, I think. But anyway. Next up, I have 2 MXTX releases, and these are the last of what I picked up in December. So I picked up Heaven's Official's Blessing. This one is published by 7 Seas, rated 17+, so that is older teen. This one is about a crown prince who ascends to godhood due to his years of noble deeds. He apparently does this multiple times and angers the gods in the process, so he needs to go to the mortal realm to hunt down violent ghosts that prey on the living. He meets another young man and has an instant connection. I believe there is an adaptation on Netflix. To be honest, I usually don't watch Chinese adaptations because the language, listening to the language is very harsh to me. And so I haven't watched that adaptation even though the story sounded interesting. And so I decided to pick up this light novel instead and see what I think. But yeah, I thought this one would be one that would be good to dip my toes into the Danmei genre. And then I also picked up Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. This one is published by Seven Seas, obviously rated older teen. This is also one that has an adaptation, and this one is about a guy who gets reincarnated and exacts revenge. And so these were the two that I thought sounded most interesting. I didn't pick up the third one because that one didn't sound as interesting to me. And so, yeah, I decided to check these two out as far as the MXTX releases go. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what I think of those. And maybe, if I enjoy them enough, I will actually dip my toes into those adaptations since they are available. So that does it for my manga haul for the month of December. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with these purchases, and even though there weren't as many selections as previous months, that's okay. I have decided that I want to be a little bit more selective with the types of things that I am picking up in 2022, and yeah, I'm not quite sure how exactly I'm going to go about doing that yet, but I can tell you that my January pre-planned list is a lot shorter than it has been, and I'm really trying to focus more on filling gaps in the collection because I do want to read a lot of these series, and I am the type of person that just doesn't like to read things while they're ongoing, though there are a few exceptions. Obviously, you saw some in this stack. But yes, I am definitely one that enjoys having the whole thing before I marathon read through it. So, let me know down in the comments below if you've picked up any of these things or if you've read any of these series, what you thought of them, but please no spoilers. And if nothing else, and you would just like to let me know that you are here, if you could press that thumbs up button and leave me an umbrella emoji for the umbrella on Heaven's official's blessing, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out, and that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye!